What's up, guys? Darkdally here, and today it's another beautiful day on Spectacle Island, looking from within the windows of my armory. And today I want to talk about weapons and how to choose the right weapon for you, and choices that may matter that maybe you haven't thought about. First, I want to say thank you to all my subscribers. There's more every day. I really appreciate you guys viewing. And also, by the time this video was live, the channel will have had over 30,000 views. So I really appreciate that. That's an awesome goal to achieve in only a couple months of, uploading what I think like 45 videos. So I really appreciate all of the views and support and input you guys have given me. All right, let's get to it. The first thing I wanted to say is I like this gun. Well, let me rephrase that. What I should say is I want to like this gun. I want to like this gun very much. Unfortunately, once I got it home and started modifying it, it just did not meet my expectations. And that's kind of where the idea for this video came from, is I started thinking, it doesn't fit the way that I play. As cool as it sounds, when you look at all those abilities that it does, it's really not ideal for a semi-automatic rifleman build, which is what this character is, and which is also what I usually prefer to do on my characters. It just doesn't do the damage. And the 25% increased fire rate really doesn't do crap for a combat rifle, because a combat rifle by default only has like a 33 fire rate or something. I can't be sure because all mine have been upgraded to faster fire rates. So even with the 25% faster fire rate, it has a fire rate of 41. Any normal, all normal, like other combat style rifles, like for instance the handmade rifle, the Radium rifle, all already have fire rates of 40. So the increased fire rate basically just takes it from subpar to par. The use of 5.56 ammo and the faster reload, look, I guess what I'm getting at is I decided this is a gun for commando gameplay. 25% faster fire rate means going from like 33 to 41. That's not a big difference. But when you're talking automatic, which if I recall, a combat's automatic fire rate is in 80s, which is still absolutely abysmal, because that's about the single shot fire rate of a pipe rifle, It's still crappy. But what I'm saying is 25% is going to put a way bigger addition to that if you go fully automatic. With addition to the other things, this is really more suited to that, and that's what got me thinking, what is suited to my playstyle and other playstyles? What weapons are really good to use, and which ones should you avoid? Now, I think there are some weapons that should be avoided. I say that because, okay, like right here, I got an explosive submachine gun. You guys know this gun as the spray and pray. Of course, this is actually one I found in the wild. It just happens to have that same legendary ability. But I don't like guns like the spray and pray, and I think this should be avoided. Guns like the spray and pray, the Chilton Radium rifle, and the rifle that you can buy from the vendor at Arcadia. This is not it, but it looks like this, minus the silencer. Old Reliable is what it's called. I think they really take away from the game. The reason I think they steal from the game is because they do way too much for way little price. And if that's your style of play, that's cool. But me, I don't feel right paying, 1,400 caps for a lever action rifle that does double damage, because that is a super OP ability. I actually think it's broken. The two-shot ability, I actually think it's broken. And to be able to pay only 1,400 caps for a weapon which, with moderate perks and upgrades can do over 300 damage is a little silly for me. I like to wait till I find those in the wild. That said, talking about legendary abilities, and this is segueing into something larger, this really is my go-to gun. I have renamed it, but you know this gun as the Splatter Cannon, also the Problem Solver. If you look at the ability, then you know this is simply a weapon I have renamed. Now, this is another ability which applies really well to commando gameplay and also to rifleman gameplay. I don't know personally of the numbers as to how much it increases with each shot, but if you use it, then you really, really see. And even at the 170 damage it does with its first initial shot, again, this is with my perks and whatnot, it's still just 10 damage more than my little 50 cal rifle here. So it does a lot of damage anyway. One cool thing I want to mention about this, because some people may not know, everyone knows how to get the splatter cannon, because you purchase it for a ridiculous amount of money, depending on your charisma, anywhere between something like 15 and 20 some thousand caps from the market in Nuka World. The problem solver, which I have here, is actually free if you know where to get it in the story. If you have some good charisma and you can do some sweet talking, you can get it from Mason, the pack leader, for free. Now that's a way, in my opinion, to earn a cool legendary rifle. Okay, let's move on to, I may come back to that, different playstyles. I mentioned Commando, Rifleman, but there's kind of a third one. There's Vats style. And even though I use the Rifleman perk, I always keep a Vats gun around. Because sometimes, say I have, sometimes it's easier, you know, just to have a high rate of fire and dump a lot of bullets into one thing. But there's other times when you really want Vats, when you have really fast-moving targets, like for instance a pack of ghouls. And that's when having a Vats rifle like this comes in handy. Where's my target? There it is. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this can get off 8, almost 9 shots. And it does only 10 damage less than my handmade rifle. This gun is legendary. And this is a legendary ability that you want to look out for. So I know some of the things I'm talking about in this video are kind of out of order because I'm just going off the cuff here. But pay attention because a lot of this stuff relates to other things. Here's a legendary ability you want to look for. There are certain legendary abilities that are really, really good. 2-shot, which in my opinion is broken. I'll get into that. This one I believe is called a quick draw. 25% less action points. Of course, this is only good for some weapons. You know, you wouldn't want 25% less action points on a missile launcher. That really wouldn't do much for you. You know, not that I can imagine. I can only get 1 shot off with this thing, even no matter how I modify it, and she's got decent agility. Other great legendary abilities. Of course, this ability, which I've never seen in the wild, this is probably a unique ability. Also, Deadeye. Deadeye is awesome, and it's hard to find it on the right weapon. Deadeye slows down time whenever you aim. And I actually made a video about the Deadeye Radium rifle that I have on a different character, which is very awesome. Mighty. That's one thing I wanted to talk about. I may as well go into my 2-shot thing. Okay, Mighty is a legendary ability which increases damage by, if I recall, 25%. Yeah, 25% more damage. That's, when I see that, I think to myself, well, what's the point? Because 2-shot does double damage, and all this does is 25% more damage. That's why I think 2-shot is broken. The description for a 2-shot legendary weapon simply reads, fires an additional projectile. But it doesn't. It only uses 1 round. And all the weapons I've ever had it on, and I've tested, it only fires a single round, but it does the damage of 2 rounds. So basically it does double damage. It does not fire an extra round. I think it might be broken. Because that's a really OP ability to have. It seems to me like to balance it, it should use twice the ammo. Okay, so the top legendary abilities, you know, all that said that I look for, that I've actually seen in the wild drop off of mobs, is this, not that one, the ability this one has, which is increased Vats hit chance and 25% less action point cost. Actually, I think that's the quick draw. It has the lowered AP cost and improved Vats hit chance. That's something I really look for. I actually have 2 of these shotguns. Now, and then of course 2-shot and Deadeye. Deadeye is really awesome because it kind of makes having a Vats rifle with you unnecessary, because those ghouls who see you and suddenly want to charge you at Mach 10 have that advantage taken away when you zoom in on them and they slow down to a crawl. I like having a Vats powered shotgun. The problem is the range. See, its range is 47. You put a silencer on it, it drops down to the 30s. So, although it's a fun weapon, it's really only good for packs of ghouls. Let's talk real quick about Vats. I like to have a Vats handy rifle. I like to have it, well, handy, close and on my hip, What makes a good Vats rifle? Now, see, that's a good question because, okay, somewhere in here, I picked up so many damn rifles. Now I'm not gonna find. Here it is. Here's a handmade rifle, which I have optimized. Let's look at it to use Vats as efficiently as possible. Now, what makes a weapon Vats efficient? First of all, you want as little buttstock as possible. Okay, the whole philosophy of Vats is the gun is quick to aim. That's what gives you more shots, or I should say, rather, a lower AP cost, because it costs less agility to maneuver a weapon which is lighter, smaller, and shorter. Now, weight doesn't have anything to do directly with Vats. I've heard some people say that it does not. Not directly. It's just that some of the parts which weigh less do help Vats efficiency. First thing is basically what you want is you want no buttstock. You want the shortest barrel you can get, and if you have a choice, why not pick the lighter one? And the reflex sight. The reflex sight alone can add a couple shots to your Vats Q. Now, why is this going to have a small magazine? Because sometimes, not in every case, that actually helps. Let's go to my hunting rifle right here. Now, it has a medium magazine in it. With that medium magazine, you saw I could get 8 shots. Oops, let's go back to this. Well, if I put a large magazine on it, say I put a large, let's get out of here and find my turret out there. I can still get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can still get 8 shots. In fact, if you look at the AP bar, it looks exactly the same. So here you're probably saying, dude, that's the same cost. No, it's not, actually. With the medium magazine only holds 7 rounds, so it actually had to reload. So even with reloading, it was still able to fire 8 shots. Of course, you're saying, well, that's still 8 shots versus 8 shots, so why not have a bigger magazine? The reason is because the fact that it can figure in that reload and still get 8 shots means that as I increase my agility, as I have a larger AP pool available, you know, if you were to graph these two weapons costs out as in a curve, you would see the one with the medium magazine slowly rising opposed to this one. As I get more agility, that 8 shots is going to go up faster than this, even though it has to reload. So far, all that said, that's the only gun I have seen an example of the magazine changing the AP cost. So I would advise, whenever I do modifications on my bench, I always, every time I make a single modification, I go to, sorry, where's the weapon I had? I go to, usually I have a turret around, and I just Vats it just to see what I can do. Some weapons have simply higher or lower AP costs than others. The handmade rifle is not really good. As efficient as I can make this, I can only get 4 shots out of it. I know, you know, maybe this doesn't have the legendary ability that that other rifle had, sure, and other things. But if I do the same thing with a combat rifle, this right here, this gun is also modified for Vats. Note that a muzzle attachment does not have any effect on the AP cost, even though you think it might, because that suppressor is as long as the barrel itself. It doesn't matter. In the game mechanics, it does not have any effect. And on the combat rifle, neither does the magazine size. So this gun is optimized for Vats, and it can actually get an extra shot off over over the handmade rifle. What does it really matter? I mean, the handmade rifle does more damage. Well, that's the thing. You know, it is all up to you and your choice. But these are things I like to keep in mind. So that said, as far as Commando Rifles go, you know, a weapon that's optimized for Commando gameplay. What you want there is high rate of fire and armor piercing. I myself, for a very long time, always asked why in every weapon that can be made automatic is there always receivers that do less damage but they're armor piercing, you know, where there's always armor piercing one. It's because there is basically, you could say, diminishing returns on damage, or you could say damage mitigation, the damage that is actually taken away. The faster the fire rate, the more damage you're losing, due to the enemy's damage resistance. And now, I'm not one of these number crunching guys, and I'm not going to pretend to be, but that is the fact, and that is why these armor piercing things are available. And so if you pick up a weapon with increased fire rate or armor piercing ability, which I have, and I don't know where it's at, but I have one somewhere, those are the weapons you say, okay, this is used for Commando. This is not going to be ideal for me. And I gotta say, though I spoke out against the spray and pray and the Kill-A-10 Radium rifle, which are both automatic weapons which do explosive damage, it's not that I don't like them. It's just that I think they're OP, and I don't like things that are OP unless I find one. You know, like I found this explosive submachine gun, which is the exact same thing as the spray and pray, but I found it, and so I feel more justified in using it. I didn't just find Cricket at Bunker Hill and drop 1,000 caps and get a weapon which is ridiculous. And don't get me wrong, they are fun to play with. When it comes to Commando, really, I think the best abilities that you're going to find, explosive is awesome, and the reason is because a lot of the Commando gameplay is focused around hipfire and improving hipfire accuracy. And when a gun has explosive ability, you really don't have to aim. It makes playing automatic more fun because it's more hipfire. This ability here is another great one for an automatic. I have used this gun both on a rifleman and a Commando character, and it's great. And there's one thing I do want to say about it. I mentioned earlier it's the exact same thing, the problem solver, as the splatter cannon. That's not exactly true. The splatter cannon being the one that you pay the 20,000 caps or whatever for in the Nuka World market, and this, the problem solver, being the one you get for free from Mason for sweet talking him and putting him in his place somehow, are actually a little bit different. The spray and pray comes fully modified, even more modified than this is. Because my character has Rifleman 5 but does not have Commando 5, I can't put a bigger magazine on it, and I cannot put the better buttstock on it. But for her purposes, I guess, for her purposes, this gun is maxed out, you know. But what I mean is, I should regress. The problem solver, which is what this gun was, you get with no modifications. So if you're going to Nuka World at level 30, you know, which is when you first get the quest, and you could probably do it earlier, but let's just say you go there at level 30, and you have a high charisma, like this character has a charisma of 11, and you easily get this gun. It comes with no mods, and you may not be able to, you can't put the end mods on it until you hit Rifleman or Commando 5. That said, the problem solver, that said, the splatter cannon comes with all those mods already on it. And honestly, to me, that makes it feel a little OP, and it kind of makes some of the tour through Nuka World not as meaningful. I spend a lot of time going through Nuka World looking for a suppressor or a drum magazine to drop off an enemy that has it, because, you know, if I'm a Commando character, I can't make a suppressor. If I'm a Rifleman character, I can't make a drum magazine. And I think part of the fun is waiting for that stuff to drop so that you can then put it on your rifle. Of course, the splatter cannon is not fully upgraded. I actually think it has a shovel buttstock, but it has the highest power receiver in it. Okay, guys, so I could go on and on, but I really don't want to make this video too long. In fact, it's probably already gone on too long. And I may have confused some people. I wanted to look at some of the things that make a good rifle and some of the things that make a bad rifle. As a rifleman, I like to have one weapon like this, which fires fairly quick, has a decent magazine size, and I want to have a gun like this with some good Vats usage. I'm all about the Vats when the ghouls come out, because it seems to me whenever the ghouls come, you know, you start shooting and they do that thing where they're straight up Matrix. They straight up do that Matrix thing and avoid your bullets. Maybe if you're playing on PC, it's different. On a PC, you can get a much better control with a mouse, because you can move your hand to where you want to point. With the controller, it's damn near impossible to hit those ghouls when they go into frickin' mock stupid Matrix mode, and you just cannot shoot them. So I like to have a Vats gun handy. It also can buy me some time when I'm looking at a seriously powerful adversary, and I want to buy just a second or two to figure out what part of his body I should be aiming at. You know, like for instance, yeah, you know. Oh, here's one. Fallon's Department Store. I don't think I found it yet on this character, but it's right around over... Yeah, I haven't found it yet. It's like right here. Fallon's Department Store. the place where when you fast travel to it, you instantly have, every time I fast travel to it, you instantly have 3 super mutant suiciders closing in on you from 3 different directions. Because there's a hospital there, there's a Fallon's department store, excuse me, and there's one other thing right there. Some kind of radio station thing, I think. But that's one time when you want to use Vats. You can go into Vats and, you know, hit that right arm and blow him up. Or when at the last second you have a crazy albino deathclaw charging you and you can shoot at his foot. Or actually for me it's anglers. Anglers get fucking crazy when they get within 10 feet of me. I'm a big fan of taking out the leg, then I might even switch weapons, and you know. So that's how I like to use them, and that's how I think you can use them best. And the best abilities, and the ones I think are broken, OP, and the ones that I think you should go and get. Let me guys know what you think. Maybe there's a legendary weapon that you really like that I missed. I know I sure have not found them all. So let me know what you think. But when it comes to, and maybe I'll do a specialized video on a, you know, I tried to cover a little bit of everything in this, and I think that's never the best thing to do, but I had a lot to say. So guys, tell me what you think in the comments below. If you liked the video, you know, click like and subscribe. Alright guys, enough of that. I'm getting distracted here. Alright, it was fun guys. I'm Darkdally. I will catch you guys next time.